UK life assurance firm Standard Life state that 72% of people do no retirement planning. And the problem for those people is that in retirement, they're going to suffer a lot of sleepless nights, and their lack of planning could well ruin their retirement before they even get started. So in this video, I'm going to reveal the 3 most important steps that I think anyone should be undertaking if they're contemplating retirement. Also, why it's critical to master all of these steps, and what Sarah and I did specifically to really supercharge our way into retirement. But before we get into that, what is the state of retirement in 2024? Well, Standard Life conducted a survey in 2023 and found that 1 in 4 people lose sleep because of finance issues. But conversely, people that are planning for their retirement are 3 times more comfortable when thinking about their future. So this is simple if you ask me, and this is the first step. Plan more, sleep more. Pretty straightforward, eh? So where am I today? I'm in Birmingham. Yes, this is Birmingham. Well, more specifically, Sutton Coldfield. And this is actually the location where Sarah and I got married all those years ago. And you know, 1/3 of Brits believe that they will still be paying their mortgage as they pass the state pension age in the UK. Now, for someone of my age, that's 67 years old, but for people younger than me, 68 years old, they're still paying their mortgage. More than 1/2 of the people surveyed think that they'll still be working beyond state pension age. Now, in a way, I think that's a good thing. I wonder whether those 2 statistics actually correlate together. That being, people still have mortgages, and as such, they're going to continue working until that mortgage is paid down. That seems to make some logical sense. We all want to kick back and retire, but if you're doing so knowing that you've got the weight of your house mortgage payments hanging over your head, well, that's not going to be the best retirement you could have, is it? So with that challenge, and let's not forget the cost of living crisis that we've all been living under the last few years, the first thing you need to tackle is debt and making sure that you have a level of management over that. And the best way to start with that is discretionary spend. Now, fortunately for Sarah and I, as we were planning for our retirement, we weren't saddled with debt. But let me list out some of the things that we did to really get our finances under control. So first of all, there's subscriptions, things like Netflix or your TV provider or your cell phone contract, whatever it may be. You need to pull all those out and fully understand them. And when we studied ours, we found that we were paying for Sky TV, and that was costing us a fortune. And really, all those channels they were providing, we didn't use. And our cell phone plan, we were both paying £40 a month for that, and then realised that we could switch to a plan at the time on the 3 network in the UK that was just £13 a month. That's gone up now, but at the time we could see we could make a significant difference there. So really, if you're finding that you have subscriptions that are not adding value to your life, get shot of them, kill them. Now, we didn't just have TV or cell phone contracts, we had Spotify, we had Netflix, Amazon Prime, everything, all of it adding up. And that added up to, a bit embarrassed to say, but at the time, that was £200 a month that we could cut off of our bills with just sitting down and sending some emails, ringing some companies and killing those subscriptions dead. The next thing we did, and I thought this was quite fun actually, is in the UK, supermarkets tend to have tiered brands of products. So for example, you can get Heinz baked beans, or you can get Sainsbury's own baked beans, which are a little bit cheaper, or you can get the Sainsbury's Essential Beans. Now, anyone who's thinking about doing something like this, just need to let you know, Sainsbury's Essential Beans is mainly tomato sauce with a few beans in the bottom. But what we learned was if we were just to step down 1 level in the kind of products we were buying, we didn't really see any difference in quality. Everything tasted just as good, but we didn't have the name brand of Heinz on the tin. I don't know, I'm sure Heinz even make the tins for Sainsbury's, who knows? But in us doing this, it was only a small change, but it saved us £40 a month on our grocery bill. That might not sound like much, But these things add up. And another area where Sarah and I didn't fall into this, well, Sarah did to a small extent with handbags actually, but that is in buying named products. We made a video about this right at the start of our YouTube channel. It's probably our second or third video, and that is name brands. If you're in debt and you're buying clothes made by Tommy Hilfiger or Ralph Lauren, stop giving money that you don't have to people you don't know. Use your money wisely to pay down your debt. So that's a saving of £240 in US dollars, about $300 US a month. You might go, well, that's no big deal. Yeah, it's not a big deal. But let me hit you with some numbers, because I plugged that into a compound calculator. And if you save £240 for 10 years, then that is £42,000. And that's by investing it in a low-cost index fund. Or if you extended that for 20 years and really let compound take effect, then that 240 quid a month comes to £133,000. Is it worth it to have a slightly lower quality tin of beans and get rid of Sky TV? You bet it was. So that's one of the important steps. Sorting out the basics of your finances. Don't take financial mismanagement into your retirement. As Sarah and I started to learn more about money, the more we learned, the more fearful we became. And the reason for that is because there's things that we just didn't know, and those things scared us. Two in particular. The first one is I would get a pension statement every year from my employer, and it didn't make any sense to me at all. And I recognise this maybe makes me look a bit stupid, but I'd read this thing and it would say, when you retire, you will have £3,000. I go, oh, £3,000 a month, that I could live on that. I could do, oh, hang on a minute. Is it £3,000 a month or £3,000 a year? And is that index linked 3,000? So maybe by the time I retire, that's going to be 40,000. I simply didn't know what I was looking at. So that was scary, because how do I know whether I'm on track or off track to retire at the date that I would like to retire? The next thing I feared, and on this one, really interested to know whether you suffer with the same fear, because I'm thinking about doing a bit of a series around how we can improve people's knowledge around financial literacy. And that fear was finance professionals. What scared me was they know stuff I don't know. I don't know what that £3,000 was that I just spoke about. So I sit down with a financial professional and imagine a conversation that goes something like this.
Just tell me, what age are you thinking about retiring?
Well, I'd like to retire at 55. That's what I'd like to plan for.
Great. So how much have you got saved right now?
Well, I've got 100,000 saved so far. That's pretty good, isn't it?
So, can you relate to that? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know whether it's just me that through my own financial illiteracy, I was not going to, I was paralysed. I was paralysed from making any worthwhile decisions. And this does come down to financial literacy. I know I'm not the first one to say this, but I think our schools are letting kids down because they teach you about geography and history and how to paint. They tried to teach me how to paint, and it wasn't something I had any capability for. But they don't actually. Here's a thing. Again, this will be for British viewers. Let me know if this is something you can relate to too in the comments. The one thing I think about when I studied history at school is a book, I think it was, called The Horse Hoeing Husbandry by Jethro Tull. Yeah, that's what I remember from history. This book, I guess, covers all the details you need to know around the husbandry of horse hoeing back in the 1800s, I guess it was. But, for me, I don't know, horse hoeing husbandry hasn't really formed a big part of my life so far. But things like compound interest, investments and saving really had. Now, and I know someone in the comments is going to say,
Well, Neil, you know, horse hoeing husbandry is actually one of the most important things that you need to be thinking about.
I get that, but for me, it's just not been that important so far. Maybe I'll look it up if enough people tell me that the husbandry around horse hoeing is as big a deal as learning about your financial future. Sorry, that was a bit of a rant, wasn't it? Horse hoeing husbandry by Jethro Tull. Wasn't Jethro Tull a band? What's going on here? I need to make a video about horse hoeing husbandry and about Jethro Tull. If I do that, maybe I'll get all the Jethro Tull fans come to our site and start watching our YouTube videos, not knowing that the video they're about to watch is all about the husbandry of horse hoeing. The point and the step here is go beyond the basics of saving and budgeting. Those things are critically important, but you need to move on to understanding investing. Understand what asset classes are. What does that actually mean? What drawdown strategies are and how you should be planning for your drawdown in retirement. All of these things are really important for you to learn. And I've got a challenge for you. If you enjoy watching mindless TV in the evening, we all like a bit of that from time to time, and let's say you spend 2 hours watching mindless TV, why not decide for the next month? It's a new year, you can do these challenges. For the next month, you'll spend 1 hour watching mindless TV, and you'll spend the other hour learning some financial literacy and understanding how to invest and what investment means and what drawdown means and how that impacts you. Now, before you do this, I'm being serious now when I say that this is fraught with danger. There are dangers, there are dragons out there. So I'm talking about get rich quick schemes. You will even find in comments of videos, if I don't get to them first, lots of things in the comments of this video where people say, I couldn't have achieved this without the help of Fred Smith, and then there'll be 7 or 8 comments below that, people saying, oh, Fred Smith was the best thing ever. All of that is rubbish, and all of that is designed to extract money out of your pocket. We will never ever provide you any kind of specific financial advice like that, and we'll never ever reach out to you. So please don't fall for anything like that. But also, get rich quick schemes. Avoid them like the plague. There's no such thing as get rich quick. There's get rich slowly, carefully, with planning and studying. Now, you may be like me, before I understood anything about finance, sitting there going, oh, well and good for him to say to me, learn about finance and investment and drawdown strategy. But where do I start? How do I do this stuff? Well, I've got 3 tips for you. The first one is avoid get rich quick schemes. I've covered that. The second one is, as I say, we don't provide advice and we don't have sponsors. Ever since we started our YouTube channel, we've not taken a penny of sponsorship from anyone. And we're very proud to say that's how it will remain on this channel. But the one thing I can tell you is there's a guy called J.L. Collins. He is an American guy. He has very sound ways of explaining things, very straightforward ways of explaining principles around finance. You can look out for his book. He's got a book called Simple Path to Wealth, or you could look for his blog, which he calls the Stock Series. But if you search for J.L. Collins Stock Series and take that time, that hour that I said about when you're not going to watch TV, I'm not saying he's got the answer to everything, but that's where the cogs will start to turn for you when you read what he talks about and start to understand how you could maybe take control of your financial future. And then the third tip is don't fall foul of something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a situation where when you learn something about a principle, that you can overinflate what you think you know. And you find that the people who know the least about something are often the most vocal. They have YouTube channels like this. But I'm not providing you financial advice. I'm providing you with the enthusiasm, the excitement to go out there and learn this stuff for yourself. So that's what you need to do. And when you're doing this, employ critical thinking. Don't think you know it all, because you don't. Anyone who pretends to know it all, don't listen to them. I'm learning new things all the time. In fact, I had a video call with one of our Patreons about 2 hours ago, and they gave me a cracking bit of advice that I'm going to investigate when I get back after making this video. There is a tip I wanted to include in this video, but really I'd be going over time and you'd stop watching. We're going to make that next week, and that's going to have Sarah in it too. That's something that totally transformed our retirement. And for you, your retirement is going to transform you as a person. Sarah and I, what we did is we sold everything to travel the world for the next 10 years. You haven't got to be as radical as that, but as you're moving into your retirement, you're going to change. The way you see life will be different. I know, I'm 3 years in. I am a different person to the person that retired. We made a video that we think can help you really make that transition as well as you possibly could do. And that's here. Watch this video next, and then next week we're going to share that incredible thing that I think only Sarah and I did, that really did power us on to success in our retirement. Our dream is world travel. What's yours?